Right, Unit 2, Video 5 is literal equations. Literal equations are equations that don't have numbers, they have variables instead. Okay, but you still solve them the same way. Okay. So on our first one, we have I equals PRT. We're going to solve for the P. So that means we want to isolate the P. We want the P to stay where it's at. So we have to get rid of the R and the T. So we need to look at what's the R doing to the P. Okay, they're together, there's no signs, so it's multiplication. Same thing with the T, it's multiplication. So in order to solve this equation, I equals PRT for the P, we need to get rid of the R and the T, and they're both multiplication, so how we get rid of them is we divide by them. Okay, see how the R's will cancel and the T's will cancel? And look for the P, and now R and T won't go into I, so our equation is I over R times T. Okay, so there's actually no math, it's just moving things around. You're either going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Let's try another one. All right, on this one we have area equals 1/2 base times height, and we want to solve for the height. Okay, now this fraction sort of throws us, so if you want, I recommend moving the fraction to just a division problem. So b times h divided by 2. Okay, so we have to get rid of the b and the 2. Okay, so let's think about that. What is the b doing to the h? Well, it's multiplying. And what's the 2 doing to the h? It's dividing. Okay, so we want to do opposite operations. So if I want to get rid of the 2, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply the other side. So right now I have 2a equals b times h. Okay, now again, we still have to get rid of the b, and we said it was multiplying, so we're going to divide by b. All right, b's cancel, so I have h equals 2a over b, and that's my answer. All right, number 3. What is the width of a rectangle with a length of 13.5 centimeters and a perimeter of 45 centimeters? Okay, so they're giving us the formula here. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in what we know. Okay. So they tell us our P is 45. So I'm going to replace P with 45. All right, and then we have a 2. All right. Then they tell us that the length is 13.5. So I'm going to replace the L with 13.5. Make sure you know that that is a multiplication. Plus 2, and then the W, it's asking us what is the width. So that's our unknown. Now we want to solve this equation. Okay, so I'm going to solve it for W. So I'm going to leave the W alone. I'll get rid of everything else. Okay, but before we can, we need to go ahead and multiply the 2 times 13.5. So 13.5, that's 27 plus 2W. Okay, and once we get there, it's a two-step equation. So let's subtract 27. Okay, those cancel. And I have 2W equals 18. Now I get rid of the 2. And W equals 9. Okay, so our length is 9, our width, sorry, is 9 centimeters. Okay. So most of these are going to be substitution problems as well. Let's look at the last one. It's probably the toughest one. All right, the density of an object is calculated using the formula density equals mass divided by volume, where again, M is the mass and V is the volume. Silver has a density of 17.5 grams per cubic centimeters. What is the volume of the amount of silver that has a mass of 45 grams? So a couple things you need to pay attention to is we're looking for volume. Okay, so when we have our formula, again, our formula is D equals M over V. We know this is what we're looking for. Okay, we're looking for the volume. So we're going to fill in what we know. Okay, so let's go back. So it says that the density is 17.5. So here's density. So we're going to go 17.5 equals, again, I'm going to go ahead and put the V because we know what that's looking for. Now our mass, okay, it says has a mass of 45 grams. So that would be RM. So I'm going to go ahead and put 45 grams. All right. Now, the problem with this equation is our variable is in the denominator, okay? If I divide by 45, my volume is still in the denominator. So the easiest way to solve this is make them both fractions. Okay? And this should look familiar because now it's a proportion. So now I can take and multiply 17.5 times V, and then I can take 1 times 45 and I get 45. Okay. Now I gotta isolate the V, so I'm gonna divide by 17.5. Those cancel. When I take 45 divided by 17.5, I get about 2.6. Okay, so that would be my answer. All right, this is probably one of the harder ones, so make sure you take good notes on this one.